Warning, this content is for entertainment and educational purposes only. This video is brought to you by First Detachment Nutrition. Battle tested, expert formulated. Use discount code AB10 at checkout for 10% off. All right, folks, Big Paul here today, and I want to talk about why I don't have what it takes for bodybuilding, and I should just give up and never try again. I normally don't respond to stuff like this, but there was recently a commenter that left a post on one of my contest prep updates about all the reasons why I should give up bodybuilding and not try. And he did make some interesting points that I hear frequently from people that ask, why do I do this? Why are you taking risks with your health? Why are you doing these things that seem unnecessary at your age? And I wanted to address it and talk about why I like bodybuilding, why I do it. There was actually some good points in the post. So I'm going to take something positive from a negative comment, and we are going to talk about it in just 1 second. So the post in question was left by Chris A4882. And here's what Chris said about my bodybuilding hobby and aspirations. I hate to say it, but competitive bodybuilding is definitely not something you should be pursuing with your genetics. If this is your best using the insane amount of gear you're taking, then obviously you are just not responding at all. It's not worth compromising your health to pursue something that you simply don't have the genetics for. I have trained with amongst the top competitive bodybuilders for over 30 years, and the one thing they all have in common is they respond unbelievably well to just very small doses of gear. These guys put on 15 to 20 pounds of solid muscle as teenagers on just D-ball, whereas the majority of people who take D-ball just ended up with a big, fat, puffy, red face and bad water retention. Maybe that's because D-ball actually sucks. The physique you've built should easily be obtainable naturally, providing you have decent genetics for building muscle. If you don't have decent genetics for building muscle, then pushing gear up to 4 or 5 grams, which, by the way, I have never taken 4 to 5 grams in my life, ever, isn't going to make up for the fact that genetically this endeavor just isn't for you, as you have already proved. What's interesting here is I don't see many super heavyweight competitors walking around that are natural. I don't know. I went from 180 up to 280. I don't know how many people do that naturally. Anyway, continuing on, trying to build a physique like a top competitive bodybuilder without the required genetics is like someone wanting to become an Olympic sprinter without being able to run fast to start with. If you can't sprint unbelievably fast as a kid, you ain't going to become an Olympic sprinter as an adult. If you don't respond unbelievably well to resistance training in your first 3 months of training, you ain't going to be Mr. Olympia. All the top bodybuilders have something in common, and that is their immediate response to resistance training. Even though they might be training incorrectly and eating the wrong foods, they still pack muscle on very easily. Have you ever heard of a top IFBB competitor who struggled to build muscle for years and then suddenly figured out the formula? Actually, I have. There are guys that struggle with putting on muscle and then later do it and just eke their way up to the top. So, yes, I have heard of that. All right, Gym Bros, I'm going to interrupt this regularly scheduled broadcast to tell you about the new Science of HGH ebook by Kurt Havens. It is available on the Anabolic Bodybuilding website for download right now. There is a link in the video description below for the ebook if you want to pick it up. It is probably the most comprehensive ebook about performance enhancement use with HGH, over 100 pages of information with references, and it's awesome. Go check it out. All right, so a few things I want to address here. First thing, if I had a nickel for everybody who comes at me and tells me they know 30 pro bodybuilders and that they've trained with pro bodybuilders, if you were training with pro bodybuilders, you would be all over social media. You'd probably be a pro bodybuilder yourself. So here's the thing that bothers me about comments like this, and I get these frequently. Just because you don't have the genetics to be Mr. Olympia, which I acknowledge, doesn't matter what I do, I would probably have never been Mr. Olympia even in my early 20s if I had kept at things. I know that, and I don't care. I used to play basketball. I played basketball a lot. I enjoyed playing in rec leagues. I enjoyed the competitive aspect of playing basketball. I was never going to be an elite center in the NBA. I did not have the genes to be an MVP of the NBA, but that doesn't take away my ability to improve my basketball game or enjoy competing in basketball. So the whole notion that you shouldn't even try unless you're going to be Mr. Olympia is just utterly senseless to me. That means anybody who doesn't have elite genetics shouldn't try. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen dudes with superior genetics that don't work hard, that don't make it anywhere. I've seen it. Every gym has a guy. I've seen it over and over and over again. Every gym has a dude that is built like a brick shithouse and has all the potential to be a pro, but they don't capitalize on it. You guys know those guys. I know those guys. And they don't do what it takes to become a pro. I also know of plenty of people that have had average or below average genetics that have worked their butts off and have become pro bodybuilders. A guy that comes to mind is Nick Walker. Take a look at his pics when he first started in bodybuilding. I would not call that elite genetics. If you look at Nick Walker in his first show, Nick Walker had what I would consider subpar genetics. And you can even see it now in his frame, the flaws in his frame. But what Nick Walker did, Nick Walker didn't give up. Nick Walker worked his butt off, and he made the most of what he had. If you don't even try, you don't know what you're capable of. There are plenty of guys that have made it to the NFL that don't have elite genetics. There are plenty of guys that have made it to the NBA that don't have elite genetics. There are plenty of guys that have made it to the IFBB that don't have elite genetics. You can't overestimate how important work ethic is. And if you work hard at something, if you stay consistent at it, if you do all the fundamentals correctly, everyone, and I mean everyone, can progress. Even the most crappy genetics non-responder can make progress. I have not met a person yet that can't improve their physique. Not one. And first of all, that's just a defeatist attitude. It's the, why try if I can't even make it? It's just, really, I just think it's just a sad attitude, to be honest with you. It's the wrong message to send to people that they shouldn't even try. So the other thing here, the whole risk thing, why are you taking risk? Why are you taking risk to be a bodybuilder, to be something that you're not going to be elite at? Everything worthwhile in life involves some level of risk, in my experience. Riding a motorcycle is extremely risky. I would venture to say that way more people die from riding motorcycles annually than die from bodybuilding. Yet people still get on motorcycles and ride them every day, and you don't hear people going out and saying, oh my God, you shouldn't ride a motorcycle, you're going to die. You're going to cut a limb off. Climbing a mountain is in a very extreme sport. Climbing Mount Everest, I think it's something like only 3 or 4 out of 100 people that climb Mount Everest, I think it's 4 out of 100 actually make it to the top, and 1 out of 100 dies. Those are not good odds. But why do people still climb Mount Everest? Because it's freaking awesome. To challenge yourself, to push past your limits, to achieve something that most people are incapable of achieving. If you want to be safe, if you don't want to take risk, sit at home on your couch and play video games and do nothing. Everyone has their own prerogative in life. Maybe that's fulfilling for you, but that is not fulfilling for me. I don't want to be there on my deathbed and sit there and think back, I wish I had done this. I wish I had tried this. I wish I had worked harder. I wish I had said I love you to my family. I wish I had done more in my life. I would say that most people, when they're on their deathbed, they regret the things that they didn't do. They regret not trying. They regret not making the most of life. I want to make the most of life. I want to live like a lion, not like a lamb, even if that means shaving a few years off of my lifespan. I'm willing to accept that. So why do I do bodybuilding anyway if I know I'm never going to be Mr. Olympia or a competitive pro bodybuilder? I don't care about that stuff. I don't care about winning my local show. I don't care about winning a national show. I don't care about having a Mr. Olympia title. I don't care about getting my pro card. I just love bodybuilding. I love the sport of bodybuilding. I love the science behind it. I love the friends that I have made. I love the new connections that I've made. I love teaching other people about bodybuilding. I love seeing how bodybuilding impacts other people's lives positively. I love the way it makes me feel, the confidence that it gives me, the drive to do something more. It teaches you lessons in all aspects of life. If you learn how to be disciplined enough to be a successful bodybuilder, even at a local level, how to get through a contest prep, how to push yourself, those are lessons you can apply to business, to your personal life. It is a level of discipline that most people do not have. And those are the things that I love about bodybuilding. I love the process of competing. I love the sport. I love teaching people. I love helping other people. I don't need a trophy for that. I don't need an IFBB Pro card for that. I don't need a Mr. Olympia title for that. Those things are meaningless to me. I'm not saying that I wouldn't like something like that. If it happened, it happened. That would be cool. But bodybuilding is so much more to me than just that. I really don't care about accolades or trophies. They're meaningless to me. It's the process. It's the journey. If you think about climbing Mount Everest, it's not the being on top that's the fulfilling part. It's the preparation to get ready for it. It's the climb up the mountain. It's overcoming obstacles to get there. It's learning how to push yourself. That is the fulfilling part of climbing Mount Everest. Even if you don't make it to the top, you know you have done something that most people can't do. And that is an awesome feeling. And the same is true with bodybuilding. I just love bodybuilding. I love everything about it. I love what it's done for my life. I love the friends I've made. And I think it's overall a positive, and I can't imagine my life without it. And I don't care about my genetic potential. I don't care if someone thinks that I suck at bodybuilding. That's cool. If you think I suck at bodybuilding, whatever. Doesn't matter to me. I do it for me. I do it for the sense of accomplishment. And that's why I do bodybuilding. All right, folks, if you think I'm wrong, I'd love to hear from you. Put your comments in the comments section below. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for watching. For coaching or consultations, head over to www.anabolicbodybuilding.com to book your spot today. I can help you with optimizing hormones, fat loss, muscle gain, physique, athletic performance, nutrition, and health. For more information, shoot me an email at bigp3rd@gmail.com.